Hi, welcome to the lecture on EnvAdapt adaptation of animals. Now we will get a close view on the co-regulation. So how different endocrine organs are working together and how the endocrine system is working together with the nervous system. But let's first take a close look on the adrenal gland. So far we have learned that the pituitary gland was regulating the hormonal release in the adrenal gland, and this regulation is so important. So we have hypothalamus pituitary adrenal gland. It even has an acronym, HPA axis, and that's essential for maintaining the homeostasis and modulate the body functions in changing environment like the seasonal changes. And that's why this is a very good example on this course. And if you look the microscope picture of the adrenal gland, you can see that in the center it's pale. Around it there is a red area. Around it it's again pale. So there are different layers. And because there are different layers, it means that there are different kind of cells. And the different kind of cells are releasing different kind of hormones. In the center, adrenal middle, it's releasing catecholamines. Well, it's easier to remember that it's releasing epinephrine and norepinephrine. And they are well known, stress responses, and they are gaining the sympathetic nervous system because the sympathetic nervous system was using the same stuff as a neurotransmitter. And around them we have these darker cells, and they are releasing androgens. Androgens meaning female sex hormones, and so they are affecting on the growth spurt in the puberty and also affecting on the sex drive in females. And around this dark area we have cells that are releasing glucocorticoids like cortisol, and they are related on stress and the metabolism. And then the outer layer is on mineralocorticoids like aldosterone, and that's not related on stress but now on the sodium reabsorption in the kidneys. But let's take a closer look on how these glucocorticoid cells are regulated. So we already know that we have hypothalamus pituitary gland, but actually it all starts in the central nervous system. So we have neurons that are generating bursts of action potentials, and then they are causing that these neuroendocrine cells are releasing the corticotrophin releasing hormone. And these action potentials and the secretions are stimulated by stress and modulated with circadian clock. So that's why we have these corticotrophin releasing hormones at different levels at different time of the day. Then we have hypothalamic cells that are secreting these corticotrophin releasing hormones, and that is stimulating the adrenocorticotrophin release in the anterior pituitary. It can release adrenocorticotrophin because the corticotrophin releasing hormone was stimulating it, but there's also this vasopressin released from the hypothalamus, and it's used as a booster. So there's much more ACTH release in the anterior pituitary when we have also the vasopressin there. Then when we have the ACTH in the circulation, it will initiate the release of glucocorticoids in the adrenal cortex. And these glucocorticoids are then affecting on the target tissues, mainly on the energy metabolism, but also in the immune system, etc. So it has several different kind of end results. And surprise, there's also a negative feedback. So when we have glucocorticoids in the circulation, that will prevent the release of corticotrophin releasing hormone CRH, and then it will limit the release of ACTH release. So that means that, okay, you only have quite short pulses of glucocorticoids in the circulation. And these pulses are actually quite interesting, that okay, because if you would have all the time a lot of these hormones in the circulation, the cells are not anymore so sensitive for them. But if you have burst, they get not used to high concentration of the hormones. And also the interesting is that, okay, when you have two hormones from the hypothalamus, then you can even regulate how much ACTH you will release by either having only the corticotrophin releasing hormone or then also adding some vasopressin. Okay, so we can have co-regulation, like that, okay, we need two signals for the full effect. We can release adrenocorticotrophin with the corticotrophin releasing hormone alone, but we can get a higher signal when having the vasopressin also. Then the other way we can do it, we can have different kind of hormones that are antagonist. So they are doing in the different directions. And a good example on this is on the blood sugar regulation. So if you eat a cake, the blood sugar will rise, but that will cause that, okay, in the pancreas, beta cells, insulin is secreted, and that affects that, okay, the insulin, the blood sugar will go back to normal within 1 hour. So insulin is stimulating the uptake of glucose, and that's causing that, okay, there's less glucose in the blood. But if at the same time you will have glucagon or epinephrine, they are inhibiting the action of insulin. So that's why, for example, having the epinephrine, then you have high blood sugar for a longer time. And if you have both glucagon and epinephrine, you will have a constant high blood sugar level, although you have insulin secretion. So we can have now two ways. We can boost the signal by adding another hormone there, or we can inhibit the signal with these antagonist hormones. So let's have a close look on the regulation of stress responses. We already know that, okay, corticotrophins were doing something with stress response, and there was a negative feedback, and so the hormonal secretion affects also on the neurons, and so the regulation is happening in both directions. And furthermore, we might guess that, okay, the responses can be fast within minutes or delayed within hours. So let's start from the stress affecting in the hypothalamus for corticotrophin releasing hormone and vasopressin. And they will activate adrenocorticotrophin release in the anterior pituitary, and that will affect on the glucocorticoid release in the adrenal cortex. But at the same time, the ACTH is also affecting on the endorphin, so meaning that, okay, you are not feeling so much pain. And then these glucocorticoids are then affecting on the early physiological effects. You will increase heart rate, increase ventilation, increase fat catabolism, and decrease the effects of insulin. But at the same time, these corticotrophin releasing hormone and vasopressin are affecting in the psychological effects. So it's affecting in different parts of the brain. And at the furthermore, the stress is affecting on this sympathetic activation. So there's norepinephrine and epinephrine, either by directly or the corticotrophin releasing hormone is enhancing these sympathetic functions. And these are also affecting on the psychological effects. And they are also affecting on the corticotrophin and corticotrophin releasing hormone and vasopressin. So we have now interplay that, okay, the original signal was coming from the nervous system, and there was a release of corticotrophin releasing hormone and vasopressin, but then it's affecting back in the nervous system. And it's also modulating the release of norepinephrine and epinephrine that are also affecting back in the nervous system. And then the sympathetic nervous system is also affecting on these early physiological effects. And that makes these hormonal controls quite a mess. And surprise, surprise, the corticotrophins are also having these delayed physiological effects. So we have opposite actions of insulin and etc. So it's depend on how long time we will have these stress to have either only early physiological effects or a little bit longer time. And one of the things that these are affecting, they are affecting on the immune system. So we have corticotrophin releasing hormone acting on the release of adrenocorticotrophin and then acting on the adrenal gland. So we have this HPA axis. And we have also immune cells that are releasing the same substance. And they are releasing also cytokines that are affecting to stimulate the release of corticotrophin releasing hormone. And okay, we have adrenal glands, they are producing these glucocorticoids and releasing them, and they are inhibiting the corticotrophin releasing hormone in the hypothalamus, and also they are affecting on the immune system. But if we have a low level of glucocorticoids, it's stimulating the immune system. So that's why the immune system can be changed during stress. And furthermore, we have other areas in the brains that are affected and also affecting on these corticotrophin releasing hormones. So we have chronic stress and also seasonal variation. So that's why we can have different change. It's completely different if we have short stressful situation or very long stressful situation, and it can be causing quite severe problems in, for example, in human health. So it might be a problem that, okay, we are constricting the blood vessels and there's a hypertension, but also that, okay, we are catabolizing the muscles and bones and suppressing the immune system and also suppressing the productive functions. But at the same time, there's also very natural seasonal variation on all kind of terrestrial vertebrates. So they have higher glucocorticoid levels at certain time of the year. And it's been speculated that it's used for breeding or to fight against diseases or if there are predators and if there is a severe weather, etc. But we still need more studies on this subject. Thank you.